Welcome to Organizing Emails and Managing Attachments. Let's face it, every day feels manageable until the emails start rolling in, but you can get it under control. Learn to use Outlook's feature set to efficiently store and organize email and attachments and successfully deal with high email volume. At the end of this lesson, you'll be ready to tackle the onslaught of incoming emails that require your attention. As a bonus, we'll also show you how to use categories in Outlook. In this lesson, we'll cover features available in Microsoft Outlook for Windows.
Welcome to Organizing Emails and Managing Attachments. Today we'll cover folders and subfolders for search and organization, rules to auto-sort email, methods for saving emails and attachments, display emails in columns, and how to use category tags. I'm Ivy Gray with WordRake, and I'm here with Baron Henley of Affinity Consulting. Take it away, Baron.
Hi, my name is Baron Henley, and today we're going to discuss Microsoft Outlook and methods by which you can organize emails and manage attachments a little better. So before we get started, the first thing I wanted to do, if you look at the way my email is set up right now, you'll notice that each email is one line item, and of course it's sorted by date, and that's the only thing I can sort by over here. Unless I click the down arrow, I can pick other things, but I can't see the other things. Like if I sort by who it's to or a category, there's no column for that, right? So what a lot of people want to do is reconfigure the way the email is being displayed so that you can see columns. Like I would like a column for to, from, subject, date, category I've assigned to it, and maybe some other things. This not only is this not giving me that option with the way they're currently being presented, but in addition, each one of these emails is taking up a lot of vertical space. So while I might be able to see all these on one screen, if each one didn't take up so much space, right now that's not an option. So here's what you do: you click on the View ribbon, and you click on the View Settings button, so this gear on the left side. Then once you get the View Settings open, click on the Other Settings button in the middle. And then down at the bottom, here's what you want to do. You want to make sure this checkbox is not checked, and you want to always use single line layout. So I want to clear this box if it's checked, and I want to make sure this radio button is the one that's ticked and not this one. Once you do that, when I click OK and OK, now you can see the way my email is presented is significantly different. And now I can see all the emails in my inbox on one screen, and none of them are going off the bottom, so I don't even need a scroll bar. But what I've got here now is columns. If you want to change the order of the columns, all you have to do is hold down on your mouse, and you can drag the columns into different locations on the column bar up the top. You can also get rid of columns you don't want to see, and you can add columns you do want to see. And here's how you do that. You go back to the View Settings button, and not surprisingly, there's a Columns button. So if you click on that, it'll show you all the columns that are currently being shown at the top of your screen. Here they all are. So if I wanted to add CC, for example, I can click on it on the left side, click Add in the middle, and now, so the top of this list is the left side of the columns, and the bottom is the right side. So right now, the CC would show up to the right of the categories column. So let's say I want it next to subject line. So I would just click on it and click up, and now it's going to be next to subject line. So when I click OK and OK, you can see I now have a CC column in there. If I wanted to get rid of a column, it's actually, you don't even need to click the View Settings button. It's really easy. Simply hover over the column you want to get rid of, hold down on your mouse, drag it straight down, and let go of your mouse. And as you can see, I just got rid of that column. Okay, so once you've got it like this, now any of the columns that you click on, it will sort by that. So if I click on Received By, it's going to sort by received. It's going to put the newest at the top. If I click it again, it'll do in reverse order, and now the newest ones are at the bottom. Okay, so anytime you can change, and you can tell which column is being sorted by based on the little triangle that you'll see in the column heading. Okay, we highly recommend that you create folders on the left side for cases, matters that you're working on, so that you can segregate the emails by the cases they're related to. And you can make folders for any reason you can think of, but a lot of times I'll see a lawyer's inbox and they have 50,000 emails in their inbox, and I'll say, why don't you organize those in some way? And they're like, I don't want to organize them into subfolders because I search this inbox all the time and I want to be able to find stuff. So the problem with that is it might not be you who's trying to search. If something happens to me and I've got 50,000 emails, and many of those emails are important pieces of conversation related to ongoing matters or clients, I can't expect that somebody could step in behind me and know what to search for to find stuff. And ultimately, we do this anyway. When stuff comes into our office, we get mail, we get faxes, we get whatever. We're segregating that into some kind of an electronic filing system, a paper filing system, or both. If you think about an email as a piece of correspondence, it needs to be treated like that. So if you took if somebody in your firm took every single piece of incoming mail via USPS and they stuck it in a drawer in their desk and closed it, that would not be okay, right? Because nobody else would be able to find all those pieces of correspondence. That's exactly what people are doing when they hoard all these emails and they stick them into one folder. No one's ever going to be able to come in, other than the person who created the mess. They're never going to be able to find anything. So it's a good idea to create folders. It's not hard. All you got to do is right-click the top of your folder tree on the left side and say, I want a new folder. At that point, it gives you a blank. You can call it whatever you want. Once it's created, you can put it in whatever order you want. So if I drag this down, you can see Wilson and Johnson is moving up and down the list, and there they will stay. Okay? How do I get emails into these things once I create them? Well, the easiest way is to simply hold down your mouse and drag them into the folder. However, then you're going to have to do that for every single one that comes along. So in one of the earlier classes, we talked about the idea of rules and alerts. And on the home ribbon, there is a button called Rules, under which you can choose, I want to manage rules and alerts. So if you go to that, okay, so let's say that if I get an email from Cindy Kirchner, the person who sent this to me right here, let me grab her email address really good. Copy. Okay, so I've made a copy of her email address, and now I'm going to create a rule that automatically files anything. Let's say I wanted to create a folder for her law firm. Her law firm is Dell Burtis. So I come over to this and I say new folder, and I type in Dell Burtis. So now I've created a Dell Burtis folder. Now I want any email coming from Cindy to automatically go into Dell Burtis folder. So I click on the Rules button and I go down to Manage Rules and Alerts. All right, and I'm going to say, make me a new rule. Now, they give you templates you can use. Okay, you can see all these templates. Move a message from someone to a folder. And it just so happens that would be the perfect thing for me to use, because that's what I want to do. But I want to do a little something different, because if you move it to a folder, then it's no longer in your inbox. It's only in the subfolder. And a lot of people want their email to be auto-filed into a particular folder, but they want to leave a copy in their inbox so they can read it and then discard it when they're done reading it. Because if something is getting automatically filed into a folder, you might miss it, right? So I'm going to come down to apply the rule to messages I receive, and I'm going to hit next. Select the condition that you want to use to snag these emails, where they're going to be from a particular person, in this case, Cindy. So I'm going to check this top box, but notice there's options for every imaginable thing to snag an email. Every screening criteria you could possibly think of is in here. So I'm going to do from people or a public group. That immediately adds that criteria to my rule down here. And all I do is click on the blue hyperlink, and then I can add the names of the people that I want to snag. So I'm going to get Cindy Kirchner, right? There's her email address. And if I wanted, I could hit semicolon space and add as many emails as I want in a row, as long as you have a semicolon in between each one. I'm only going to put in Cindy. So I click OK. Then I click next, and it says, okay, if you get an email from Cindy, what do you want to do with it? Okay, I don't want to move it. I want to move a copy. But notice I got other choices in here. I could delete it. I could permanently delete it. I could redirect it. I could forward it to somebody else. There's all kinds of stuff you can do. I can play a sound. I could display a desktop alert. I want to be notified about it. Lots of options. Anyway, I just want to move a copy. As soon as I check that box, it adds it to my rule. I click on specified. It'll show me all my folders. I pick Delbertis. I click OK. I click next. Now it's going to say, are there any exceptions to the rule? And in my case, that'd be a no exceptions. So I click next. It says, what do you want to call it? I'll call it the Delbertis rule, and I'll hit finish. Now, whenever I get an email from Cindy in the future, now I didn't run that rule. If I had run the rule, it would have gone ahead and filed it into the Delbertis folder up here. But now if I get a new email from Cindy, it'll just automatically stick a copy into the Delbertis folder, but it will leave the copy, the original one, in my inbox, so I can deal with it. Okay? So that's a pretty handy thing if you want to just make it easier on yourself to file things away, but I would strongly recommend that you create folders and subfolders to help organize these things. Okay, let's talk about attachments. Let's just take this email from Sam. And let's assume that I want to save an electronic copy of this email in with everything else related to everything we're doing for the Nebraska Bar Association in this case. Okay, there's a couple of ways you could save this. I could go File and down to Save As. Like you can open an email. An email is simply a record in a database. Okay, it's not a separate file. But you can create a separate file from that record. So if you open it up and you go File, Save As, it's going to create, as you can see, an MSG file. And that is identified as being an Outlook message format Unicode file. Okay, what does that mean? It means it's a file that Microsoft owns. It's a proprietary file type. So, and I can call this whatever I want. I could call it, email from Sam. That's fine. And I could put it wherever I want. So let's say I want to put it on my desktop. Now, here's the problem. MSG is a Microsoft thing. They may decide in 5 years to stop using MSG files. They may eliminate the ability for Outlook to display MSG files. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So that's kind of a problem. Because if I'm saving this for archival purposes, I want to make sure that in 20 years we'll be able to open this email, and there's no guarantee if you use some proprietary file type. So therefore, I would recommend that you don't use MSG files. Instead, what kind of file could I create that I could absolutely be guaranteed will be openable in 20 years? That would be PDF. And the reason why, if you care, is because the company that invented PDFs, which was Adobe, it's the name of the company, they released their patent rights to the PDF standard in 2008, which made it open source. So a PDF is a PDF is a PDF. It's not owned by a particular company anymore. It's in the public domain. So that's the reason why we use PDFs all the time, because it's one of the only file types. A, I can absolutely guarantee you'll be able to open up in 20 years. And B, if I make one on my computer and I send it to somebody else, it doesn't matter what PDF program they're using. It doesn't matter what device they view the PDF on, their phone, their tablet, their computer, whatever. It's going to look exactly the same on their computer as it did on mine. So if I'm going to save any files electronically, either things I scan, emails, whatever, I want to make those PDF format because then I know they're safe in the future. So there's two ways I could make an email or a PDF out of this email. Option number one, I could just, hey, print to PDF. And I could pick my PDF printer. I have Adobe Acrobat, so Adobe PDF is one of my options. And I can hit go. And I can save that on my desktop and hit save. And it's going to generate a PDF, not surprisingly, of the email that I opened. Here's the drawback. The drawback is, whenever it finishes doing this, the drawback is I can see the names of the attachment. I can see this 2022 NEB form list, blah, 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 DOCX. However, it's just the name. And if I open this up in 5 years and nobody bothered to save this attachment, it may be lost. Okay, option number two, I'm going to open up this email just like I did before, but instead of just printing the PDF, I'm going to use the integration with my PDF program. And all the good PDF programs integrate with Outlook, in case you're wondering. So the only thing I'm doing differently is I'm clicking this button that says convert to PDF instead of clicking print and choosing the PDF printer. So I click on this, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to say, what do you want to call your PDF and where do you want to put it? So I'll put it on my desktop, I'll hit save, and I'm going to get, not surprisingly, another PDF. But there's a huge difference. And the huge difference is I can see this where it says NebDocs form list. If I double click that and hit OK, it will actually open in Word format, and here it is, the file that was attached. So this is that Word file. And notice, it's Word, it's not a PDF. So here's an interesting thing about PDFs. Not only will we be able to open them in 20 years, but they are buckets that can hold other files. So I've got the NebDocs form list is a Word file, which is now contained inside this PDF. And I know it looks like a hyperlink, but it's not a hyperlink. If I emailed this to you, you would obviously have no connection to my email system, and yet you'd be able to double click and open that Word file. So this is a better archival version of the email because it will automatically capture the attachments and hold them inside the PDF. Okay? So sometimes people buy the PDF program solely for this capability because they feel overwhelmed with email. They don't know what to do with them. Printing them is counterproductive. All that does, you may as well kick yourself in the shins every time you print an email, because printing an email has never helped anyone find anything important, in my experience. I'm still waiting to find somebody who says, yeah, I found, this really important piece of information on a printed email we couldn't find anywhere else. If that's the case, then you have a terrible email management protocol. You should be able to find it electronically much easier than you could ever find it on a printed document that's not searchable, that is stuffed in one of your paper files. So it's a better idea to store them electronically. And you can, if you want, like I've got Adobe Acrobat installed, so I got another ribbon in the parent version of this, and I could go in and say, I want to make, I could pick a bunch of emails, like I'd pick Sam and the other email from Sam and this one from Alfred, and I could say, make a PDF containing all three of those emails. And it will create a single PDF that contains all three emails plus any attachments to those three emails. And then furthermore, I can add more emails to that same PDF anytime I want in the future. And that type of a PDF, in case you're wondering, is called a PDF portfolio. So anyway, letting your PDF integration handle this is better because it's capturing the attachments. Now let me show you another thing that I really like in Outlook, and that is the ability to assign a category to the emails. So the issue is, like, I've got this email from Karen, and she's asked me to convert some WordPerfect files over to Word, so I don't want to forget to do it. I might want to tag this email with category. You'll notice on the home ribbon in Outlook, there's a categorize button, and if I click on this, you'll have a list of categories. Now, if you've never looked at this and you never changed these, I believe Outlook gives you some default ones that come with the program out of the box that are completely useless and are just called colors, like green, blue, yellow, black, etc. So what you want to do is go down to all categories, and you can delete the ones that it comes with that you're never going to use, and then you can create new ones. Okay, so let's say that Karen needed a quote. Well, I have a category called needs quote. Let's say she sent me these documents and says, hey, can you give me a quote to convert these WordPerfect files to Word? So I know I want to remind myself I have to do that. So what I can do is I can right-click the category column on top of her email, and you can see all my categories appear, and I can say need quote. Now it's pretty obvious that I need to quote Karen's WordPerfect files because it's tagged it with that. And I can click on categories. I could even sort by categories if I wanted to do that. So you can now see my categories are sorting by, in this case, need quote. So both of the emails in my inbox that I needed to do a quote on, I can easily locate, even if I had lots and lots and lots of emails. If you want to get rid of that tag, you can right-click it and you can say clear all categories. You can also, if you care, you can assign multiple categories to a single email. Okay. Lastly, I want to show you how to do what's called a search folder. So if you looked at your list of folders over here, down at the bottom, you're going to see something called search folder. And if you click on it, and you've never created a search folder, you're not going to see anything underneath it. What a search folder is basically, I mean, it looks like a folder. It's not really a folder, but it does a permanent search. So in other words, I want to find, I'll just give you a couple of examples. I want to find any email that contains the word HotDocs, HOTDOCS, which is a document automation platform we do a ton of work with. So if anybody sends me an email that has the word HotDocs in it, I want it to show up in a particular search folder. So here's how I do that. I go down to search folders, I right click, and I say I want a new search folder. And you have all these like criteria you can use. So if I scroll down, I can say, hang on, mail from certain people, organizing mail with specific words. So I'm going to look for mail with specific words. Then I come down here and I click choose, and I can type in, you can type in more than one word, of course. I'm going to type in HotDocs and click add. And then I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to click OK. And then it's going to start executing its search. And this list is going to get really big in just a second. Okay, look what it's telling me. From the Aclea folder, I have two emails that contain the word HotDocs. From the DA department, I got one from Will that contains that. From the personnel, I've got a bunch of them. From sent items, you can see it's building out this whole search. And it'll keep doing that. So every time, so let's say I'm up in my inbox, I'm like, I wonder if we got any emails that have HotDocs in them. I can go back down and I can click on my containing HotDocs search folder, and it'll instantly show me all the emails from every single folder that contain the word HotDocs. Let's say you're being yelled at by your IT company because you have 10 bajillion emails and they're humongous and you're overloading the server with all your emails and attachments. So you might go, oh, well, I wonder if there's some way for me to find all the emails that are big so that I can see them and delete them, because that would be the best way to reduce the amount of space I'm taking up on the server is to delete the humongous emails. So I could create another search folder. So I click here and I say do a new search folder. And if you scroll down, you can say there's an option for large mail. So that sounds a little nebulous, but that means large emails. So I click on choose, then I can tell it, what size does the email have to be for it to be tagged? Okay, so this is showing me in kilobytes. 100 kilobytes is really small. So 1,000 kilobytes is a megabyte. So let's say I want to find any emails that are larger than 5 megabytes. Then I would type in 5,000 right here. And I click OK, and I click OK. And of course, it's going to create a new search folder. And look, it's even categorizing it for me. It says, yo, dude, these top 3 are huge. They're between 10 and 25 megabytes. So I might go, wow, I could just delete those and I would free up a huge amount of space. Down here, you can see these are between 5 and 10. So if I click on this and it's got a bunch of attachments and I hit delete, then obviously I would be saving myself some space. The one folder they attached here is 7 megabytes, or the one file they attached is 7 megabytes. So that explains why that particular one is quite large. But the point is, these are constantly now scouring my inbox for whatever criteria I told it to search. And it's not just your inbox, it's all your folders. Then if you want, you can right click and you can delete those search folders just the same way that you added them. Just right click and delete. So if there's certain things that you're always doing searches for and you would like that search to work across all your folders, then you want to do a search folder. And that's all I've got for organizing emails and managing attachments. I hope you got some good tips out of that. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. That was an informative lesson.
This video was created by Ivy Gray from WordRake and Baron Henley from Affinity Consulting, who both trained as lawyers and are now Microsoft Word and Outlook enthusiasts and productivity experts. This video is part of a series. To sign up to receive tech tips and training videos via email, please visit wordrake.com/tech-tips. Take Outlook to the next level. A well-written email is persuasive, clear, concise, well-organized, and error-free. The best emails take up less screen real estate while delivering more valuable information. WordRake can help you send shorter, clearer, useful emails that will fit onto a single screen. Using the familiar track changes style, WordRake will help you edit your emails for clarity and brevity, just like you would edit a letter in Microsoft Word. If you'd like to learn more, sign up to receive tech tips and training videos at wordrake.com/tech-tips. When you're ready to take your work to the next level, try WordRake. WordRake is clear and concise editing software that will improve your writing while respecting legally operative phrases and key legal content. It's a finely tuned collaborator that will help you satisfy clients, win more business, and do more high-value work. WordRake works in Microsoft Word and Outlook. It goes beyond Microsoft's built-in spelling and grammar checkers to help you reduce legalese and wordy writing. It uses complex, patented algorithms to find useless words, dull phrases, weak lead-ins, cliches, and high-level grammatical problems, then offers suggested edits in-line. WordRake's document will look just like a smart colleague with an English degree has revised your work using track changes. In 3 simple steps, you'll have a better document or email. Try it today at wordrake.com/trial.